I was struggling, like looking for something more competitive because I got bored, like in COVID era, I was streaming Tekken. I didn't want to reach out to anyone. That will be the 3 days where I'm like grinding my iRacing, mostly drive supercars, so throwing myself into Formula. And I also love the fact that VRS got a setup every week for supercars. So anyone that's that were racing with me few years ago.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Ray here with VRS. Today we've got Els on. She's going to be, well, she already streams. Many of you may already know her. She goes by Els. How do you say your name again? I'm going to make sure I say it correct. I'm going to let you say it, and then we'll follow suit.
All right, so it's Eliza Indriani, but you can just
Indriani.
Indriani. Yep, it's
Indriani.
Indonesian name. Yep.
Even better, even better. See, look, you bring some culture, some flair. I love it.
Yes.
And I got to meet you at the Sim Gaming Expo, which was great.
Mhm.
We got to shoot a video together, and I look forward to doing a lot more acting. That was really fun.
Oh my God, that one I really like that one. Not gonna lie,
Yes.
like people really get entertained, out of that content. So I'm like, yeah,
Exactly.
I think we need to do more of it for VRS.
Exactly. And we should. I think we absolutely should. Let's
Yeah.
bring more fun stuff here to VRS. So but I'm glad I got to meet you in person. One thing I will say is you're not as tall as I thought. You're actually right where I thought.
No, I was struggling, like there were a lot of like sim setup right at the
Uh-huh.
expo, and I was like struggling so bad, like I couldn't see over the steering wheel and everything. Even the guy from the organizer, like they
Uh-huh.
find like a big pillow like from the hotel room, and he was like, "Yeah, you can bring it and you can use it if you want." And I was like, "Oh, thanks." But
Right.
actually, VRS setup is top of the line.
Yeah. We're able to get you in the seat, which was nice, and I got to get some content of you driving, which was nice.
Yeah.
So I think that really added to the flair here at VRS. But before we
Mhm.
get to any of the Sim Gaming Expo, like I first
Yeah.
want to talk about you because
Mhm.
you've been streaming for quite some time.
Mhm.
And how about you share a little about you and what made you break into sim racing and then decide to start streaming?
Well, first time I really got into sim racing, let's say competitively, getting into this online community, it was back in 2020 during the
Hmm.
pandemic because I
Yep.
was bored at home. I couldn't go out. So I pick up my PS4 and I played the Gran Turismo. So I'm like,
Okay.
okay, now everything changed. Like last time I played Gran Turismo, I don't know, like 10, 12. I was playing the Gran Turismo 2. So like
Okay.
a lot of thing has changed over time,
Yes.
like I took a break from racing game for let's say 12 years or something, and then
Okay.
getting back to it in with online community and everything. I was surprised, and honestly I was amazed, like wow, racing games is not that at all, you know what I mean? It grows,
Hmm.
especially in pandemic, like people get into the online. So
Yeah.
that's how I first get into it. Like just getting into this online PlayStation community, getting into this online race, and then I got bored. Like, okay, what's more than this? It should be more than that, right? Like people
Right.
can just playing on PlayStation, right? And then I
Right.
googled something. I got into this Reddit community talking about, oh yeah, we got Assetto Corsa on PC. We got this, we got that, and that's how I got introduced to the
Okay.
PC, like the PC community, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then from there, I started to like looking for something more competitive because I got bored, like I want to test out
Hmm.
myself, trying out
Right.
something new. And I'm like, this is the game that I like. This is the thing that I love when I was a child. So why don't you
Right.
give it a try? Get into this league race. So it's like a championship for a woman. Like just
Hmm.
throw yourself into it and see what happens, right? Like YOLO. I was like really YOLO back then, to be honest. Like I appreciate myself back then, but I was really YOLO. So I got no context about racing back then, to be honest with you. No
Hmm.
context. I just got like every context about racing from the video game. And I threw myself into this league race
Wow.
on ACC. It was the more female racers by Simgrid, I believe. I think
Okay.
it was from the Simgrid. Yeah, and I practice, just practice hard, like okay, we practice and stuff. And I don't know why I got almost win streak in 6 rounds. Like I don't know
Wow.
why. So I was like, okay, okay, and okay. Long story short, I won that championship. Like I really won
Nice.
the one. So okay, I
Wow.
was like, oh wow, I know, right? I was like, wow. And then from there, I got in touch with my friend Law 46. She's a big streamer. Like she's like a really popular streamer. She's an
Mhm.
iRacing streamer. So
Okay.
I don't know. I can't remember exactly how we got into this chat on DM, but she just reached out to me one day and she was talking to me. So back then, Trustmaster was looking for ambassador and stuff. So that's how I got introduced into content creation, streaming, because again, if you're talking about partnership and stuff, you kind of like need to do those social media stuff, right?
Right.
So that's how I got introduced to streaming and content creation because I'm working with sponsorship. And then also back then I was one of the talent for Toyota GR86 campaign.
Okay.
So yeah, that's how I'm getting it. So after I won championship, I just got bunch of opportunity, to become like a streamer, to become a content creator, like what I
Awesome.
do right now. So yeah,
Wow. That's
that's
that's a pretty great story.
that's like a rocket ship, like a tech off
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah,
So
no, because that doesn't happen quite often. You know what I mean? It's not something that
yeah,
happens in sim racing where somebody enters, especially like most people, like COVID really gave everybody an opportunity to just go home, and everybody was at
yeah,
home and you were sitting at the house and it was like, you know
mm-hmm,
what? I need something to do. And sim racing kind of filled that gap for
mm-hmm,
thousands of people, probably millions of people around the world. And
mm-hmm,
it went from something that was a small community to now where, as we saw at the expo, people are investing millions of dollars into sim racing, well,
yep,
billions of dollars actually, when you get down to all of the companies that are investing all of the
mm-hmm,
money that is spent to create different types of gear and grab sponsorships and grab people to work with their brands. So
mm-hmm,
again, kudos to you for one, jumping in head first. So that's always fun. And then two,
yeah,
practicing enough so that you show that you were dedicated to it, which makes sense. And then with that, you had some opportunities that, like you said, was like a rocket ship. It went from 0 to 100 extremely quick.
yeah,
Because I could say, yeah, that's not the traditional trajectory, but I'm glad that it did because I wouldn't have met you today or met you
mm-hmm,
to then meet you at the gaming expo to now do this interview. So kudos
yeah,
to you and all the hard work you've put in. So you've been streaming since since 2021,
2022,
2022. Okay.
22 around that. Yep.
Okay. So you've been
Swim
streaming
for
since
sim
22.
racing. Yeah. In
So,
COVID era, I was streaming Tekken. So I was starting
really?
my streaming career from fighting games, and then I won the championship and stuff. I got hooked up with it. So it's like a
So you
plot
played
twist,
other
isn't it?
games. So you played fighting games. Okay. What was your
Yeah.
favorite fighting game that you played that you love to play to stream?
Tekken. I used to play
Tekken?
Tekken. Yeah.
Okay. I
And
remember Tekken. I haven't played Tekken since I was a kid. So,
oh
and
yeah,
it's been a long time since I played Tekken. And I
yeah.
used to always lose, so I wasn't good anyway. So at
Me
least with sim
neither,
racing,
but
I'm
I
halfway
enjoy
decent.
it. I enjoy it.
Okay, so
Alrighty.
picking back off of what you stated about the
Mm-hmm,
the sim racing and COVID and taking off like a rocket ship, and
mm-hmm,
obviously being a woman in sim racing. Like I want to touch this because it's not very common that women get into sim racing. It's a far more male dominated uh entertainment area. I know, people look at sim racing as a sport and it can be competitive, which it can be, but usually it's
mm-hmm.
very competitive for the top 1%. Those are the esports people. The rest of
Right.
us are kind of trying to figure out a space where we can carve ourselves out. And
Mm-hmm.
then women in
Right.
sim racing, quite small. So how has it been for you now as a woman in sim racing? Clearly it's worked out on some level,
Mm-hmm.
because we have you as part of the VRS team, which I'm so happy to say. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but how's that journey been once you got into it? Like, how's it been being on the other side, the woman in sim racing in this community?
Well, at first, I was afraid of. not like afraid, but it was awkward, of course, because
Hmm.
yeah, like especially because I'm a girl, and then I got into this male-dominated industry, and then I felt like a newbie back then. So it's just like everything adds up to the point that I didn't want to reach out to anyone. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
okay, no, like that. But I mean, I feel like I was lucky because also I don't know, like I met bunch of like good people in the community.
Hmm.
Like it could be scary from the outside, like okay, it's a male dominated world. Like how are you
Yeah.
gonna survive in this? But there are a bunch of good people in the community that's willing to help you regardless, like helping you to get better, giving you
Yeah.
like a free coaching session, something like
Yeah.
that,
Right.
like okay, that's really helpful, you know so yeah, I feel like throughout my journey I've been making friends with good people in sim
Right.
racing. So of course there are some negativity and stuff, but I don't really want to get into that because I don't really care about the negativity. I focus
Right.
more on like having like good people around me. But
Right.
yeah, overall, I feel like I can find my own safe space in sim racing community other than having like good people around me. But I also have this how do you say, not like a girly gang, but my little community with the
Yeah.
female sim racer. You can just talk about everything on Discord like randomly, or I can say like,
Right.
like let's do endurance, we can be bad together, who cares as long we're having
Right.
fun.
Exactly. No, and you
Yeah.
touched on a valuable point. As long as you're having fun, it doesn't matter, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yes, you have your naysayers, your detractors are going to say negative things about you, and they don't know
Course.
you. Clearly, they don't, because if they knew you, they'd like, man, she's a pretty awesome person. For the little bit of time
Yeah.
I got to meet you, you seem like a very nice person. So
Thank you
it's
so
like,
much.
you get those individuals who just are just going to be negative Nancy's, as they say, or whatever the saying is, but they're going
Well,
to be negative no matter what happens. But it's great
exactly.
that, one, I think this community gives back far more than it takes.
Mm-hmm.
And clearly, like you said, you're able to start, doing the endurance races with friends and just having fun. And I think a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
miss that piece
Mm-hmm.
of just the having fun. The reason why I
Yeah.
like working at VRS is because the guys, although it can be stressful at times because you want to put out these new products and create
Mm-hmm.
this new gear, and you've got the coaching and everybody's asking you a million questions,
Yeah.
but there's also the fun piece of it. You get to just have fun.
Mm-hmm.
So pivoting from the fun piece of it, let's talk about competition. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
clearly there's a competition part of this for you.
Mm-hmm.
How's that working now with you? Like, where are you competing when it comes to sim racing, and who are you competing against and with?
Well, right now I can say that I'm not actively competing into any like
Hmm.
big league or something like that,
Okay.
but I'm throwing myself into for example like the creator series that's happening
Yes.
for the first
Yeah.
season in
Yes.
iRacing. At
Yeah.
first I thought that was like a fun race, but no, it was more like a top split kind of race, but
Yes.
we racing hard in that one. I got beaten like really hard in that one. So
Mhm.
if you're asking me like what kind of competition you're in right now, I would say I'm currently racing in creator series, which
Mhm.
I'm trying my best to be
Mhm.
on top of the leaderboard. I'm trying, like I
Right.
really like put my time into practice for it. So yeah, the creator series. And other than that, I want to touch base into this one. Few weeks ago, I was racing in Sunoko All Star. So
Okay.
me and my friends, as the co-streamer of NASCAR, we were racing against the real NASCAR driver on the track. So that
Oh,
was
wow.
that was really awesome. Like you
That
were
sounds cool.
able to race, like to share the track with all these NASCAR drivers, and they were all really good on the track. Yeah, that's my kind of competition that I like. Like
Right.
I like
Right. No, you're competing
yeah,
against real people. Yeah, no, real people who
like
know
a
how to get
real
out in a
NASCAR
real car.
driver,
Yeah,
like people
yeah,
that you saw on TV every
yeah.
weekend during the race. Like I was like, oh god, that was like, oh, that's so awesome.
See, I like that enthusiasm. I think that's what we have to have in sim racing. That's what you have to have because yes, the
Mhm,
competition is fun, going after and trying to beat your competitor, and then brag
mhm,
about it later. Like, yeah, I beat you, you suck. But you know what? At the end, when you get done, like, man, great race. It was nice racing, and you get to chat and mingle and get to
mhm,
understand and learn different people. So that's always a great thing.
mhm,
But you talked about again like competing against these real drivers, but and then also doing the creator series. But then you
mhm.
mentioned something practice, right? So clearly you got
Right.
to put time in. There's effort that goes
Yeah.
into it. Now
Mhm.
at
Of
VRS, we
course.
actually believe that having great tools like telemetry and data and coaching, you've mentioned those things, are extremely important. What do you do to get ready for the race you have that's coming up that week? So, whether it's at Road Atlanta, whether it's at Road America, whether you're racing an oval track or you're
Mhm.
racing a dirt track, how do you prepare yourself getting ready for the weekend?
All right. So this is more like my weekly schedule kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So during Sunday and Monday, I will go to the VRS website, checking if there's like any track guide that already released all the setup. I will download the setup. I run like a solo practice for at least like 30 minutes, 1 hour, just to get used to the car and the combo and
Mm-hmm.
everything. Right. And then after that, I will take a little break, look into the telemetry, which I learned how to read into the telemetry since I got the
Mm-hmm.
subscription from the VRS, right? So I
Right.
look into the telemetry and compare with the coach, right? Like the
Mm-hmm.
with the VRS coach, and then try to redo it again, another 1 hour, 2 hour, and
Okay.
then on Monday I will do the same, but it's gonna be on hard mode, as in like okay, you do like spend like at least 4 hours in the sim, like do the
Okay.
practice like over and over. So yeah, look at the telemetry and do it again, and
Mm-hmm.
then after that I will work on content plan, like okay, what you gonna stream this week? Oh, you're gonna do this. Oh, you've done the
Mm-hmm.
practice, cool. Okay, you plan for the content and everything, and then throughout the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, it's gonna be my stream day, my race day. So that will be the 3 days where I'm like grinding my iRating, and then
Right.
I'm like yeah, farming for contents, and then yeah, it's for clips and stuff. And then yeah, so that's like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday, I'll be like taking a break from streaming, working on
Right.
content, and rewatch my VOD on Twitch just to see what I did wrong in the race. Because I feel like other than practicing on the sim, like learn watching
Right.
yourself, like how you did in the race and everything really helps.
Yes.
So that's what I normally do.
That's a
And
great
I'm
schedule.
doing it on repeat for the last 2 years, I think. Yeah, I think
Oh
2
wow.
years. Yeah.
Okay. Well, clearly
Yeah.
that's a great schedule. Like, I mean, let's be honest. Like, when
Something
I
like
have time, when I'm not doing all of the million different things that I have to do, that is my goal. And I
mhm,
find that I race far less frequently. So
mhm,
jumping into a sim like LMU has been easier because it doesn't require, I'm not going to say as much devotion or as much practice because all sims take
right.
practice. But it's like
Mhm,
the I rating for me has become like the thing like I can't be this like you get so addicted to it. So I like
mhm,
to see that you're putting all the time in, you're looking at the telemetry, you're looking at all the data, you download the data pack, which is awesome. I mean,
mhm,
again, I can't stress how important it is enough to people out there if you're looking for data packs and coaching and things like that. VRS is your one-stop shop. We have telemetry data coaching, we have data packs, we have gear, we have all the things you need from the gear to all of the coaching and telemetry. So it's nice to
mhm,
hear that somebody else understands how to use it. And the key part you pointed out there was also learning how to read it, learning how to say,
yeah,
okay, this is my data, this is the coach's data, and this is where I can improve. Here's where I'm on par with the coach, and here's where I'm falling off a cliff. So
yeah.
those are the things that really matter, um, which is good to hear. So
Mhm,
we sent you some gear and I'd love to
mhm,
know what you think of it because again, I think those are valuable insights that I think you bring to
mhm,
the table. Clearly, you've been
mhm.
racing since 2020, so you've been able to use different types of gear. I can see the
Yeah.
VRS DFP 15 right there in front of you. Um,
Mhm. I
how has
don't
that
have
been
my
working?
wheel on at the moment, but
No
yeah, I
worries.
should have
How,
put it.
how's that working out for you? How have you liked it? some things you think, you know what, this has worked out really well. And if you have any pointers of things that, you think,
Mhm.
hey, it'd be great if VRS did this as well.
Mhm. So I've been using this one for the last 2, 3 months, I think, since I received
Mhm,
this product.
mhm,
And coming up from my other DD to this one, it's such a game changer.
mhm,
As in like, okay, I can feel like more detail, as in like I was testing it out with F4 car back in the day, and I feel like when I brake and when I'm about to shift, I can feel the
mhm.
bite point, and that's
Nice.
that was my first impression, and I was like saying it in the stream back then, like I can feel the bite point, which I never felt this before with my
Hmm.
other product, with whatever I've used before that.
Hmm.
So that's the new detail that I just feel like, oh, this is new to me. So this is what a steering wheel, a good wheelbase should feel like, you
Yes.
know. And also, I came into the software. I'm still exploring it till right now, still trying to find like the sweet spot of it. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
really love how you can do like all the adjustment, like on the wheelbase, all the details on the software.
Yes.
Like, yeah, that's what I like. And that's also new to me because I've never had those kind of software before. So, like, oh wow, you can really adjust like all this damping and then all. I really even need to look into the software right now to like say to you like what kind of adjustment that I do. But I'm
Yeah.
for the first like 2 or 3 days, I spend my time like trying to tweak the software and like, oh
Right.
wow, you
And
can
see,
do
that's a
this.
great thing. Not everybody's willing to do that. A lot of people, which is nothing wrong with it, just want to say, hey, can you just recommend a setup and I'll use that one, which is great. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. But I've
Uh-huh.
learned,
Right.
and far more now, we have
Uh-huh.
videos out there so people can check out as well in our podcast series that people can watch that can say, hey, what does this mean? When I put a
Mhm.
filter on, what does it mean? And how does it impact what I feel from the base? So if I run a very, an optimal filter, what is it doing?
Mhm.
A balance filter. What's slew rate? All of those things, I didn't understand as much, and I understand it far more after talking to the guys. And I'm
Mhm.
glad that you pointed out, like, there's just details you feel as you get to better quality gear. And I'm glad we were able to get you set up with some great gear because I think,
Yes.
again, having better gear can help you be better and more consistent on track and be faster. So, that's where you got the little plug for, hey, check out
Yeah.
VRS.racing/shop. Because, again, at the end of the day, getting gear that's right for you is highly important.
Mhm.
With that being said, so clearly you've been using it for 2, 3 months. Have you seen an increase in your speed? Have you seen an increase in your I rating? I mean, because that's what's important. Like having
Yeah.
nice gear is nice, but if you're not getting better, you're not getting faster, and your I rating's not getting better, then it's
Mhm.
really kind of, what are you doing it for? So have you noticed those aspects of your racing getting better?
Well, it might sound like I'm slightly overconfident on myself, but I feel
No, you should be.
I feel like with this wheelbase, it's not like I don't need to do a lot of practice, but the time that I put into practice, for example, like before I put like 4 hours into it, I can figure out a lot of things in less than 4 hours. Like,
Hmm.
oh, one thing for sure, I am more consistent. I can just jump on the track back in the day, like few weeks ago actually. Like few
Hmm.
weeks ago I just hit the live button and I'm like, oh yeah, let's do some F4 Road America. I know the combo, but I don't know if
Hmm.
I'll be faster. But I swear to God, my lap time was kind of like matching the top two on the lobby at that moment. Like it's
Really?
pretty competitive. Like yeah, I'm being real about that right
No, that's awesome.
now.
That's good to hear.
Yeah. So what I like is um I'm more consistent. That's one thing for sure. But once I feel like I'll be messed up on the track, like oh I'm about to spin, I can get the feeling like oh you're about to losing your rear. You can
Mhm.
catch it. Like you can
Yes.
save your car. My race was messy. Like my race were all messy. Like I almost spin the car. I mostly drive supercars, so throwing myself
Okay.
into Formula, it's like two different worlds. Like of course
Yes,
I
it
will
is.
spin
Two
and
different ones.
everything. And but yeah, back in the day, I can just easily adapt to every car. Like okay, you can adapt. If you're about to spun, you can save it and you will save it. And again, that I feel like I can feel like more details that I never felt before with my previous product, with whatever I used before, you know.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
No, like you said, I
Yeah,
mean,
again, I'm sound like I'm kind of like
no,
overconfident on that, but I feel
no,
like I don't need to put myself like, I mean, of course you need to practice a lot, but
correct.
it's more like you can make your time like more effective in learning things,
No,
you know.
absolutely. Like if you
Yeah.
use the tools
Yeah.
right, like I like your schedule again. You have your set schedule of ways you're going to do things because that sets you up for success. And like we have all the tools, but if you don't use the tools right, then it makes no sense. Then
Then
all of
it's
the hard
yeah.
work you put in to the money you spend doesn't end up paying dividends because you don't put in the hard work properly. So you got to
Mhm.
do it all together to get the results that you're looking for. So that's I'm glad to hear that. And I always root for people's success. And hopefully I'll see you on track one of these days, and maybe I'll be competitive. So you said, what's your favorite car and track of all time? If
Oh
you could pick
god.
any car track combination, what would that be? And I know I'm putting you on the spot, but you got to have a favorite car, favorite track combination.
I'm ready for this. I'm so ready. I love supercars. I really love
Okay.
supercars. I love driving a NASCAR. Pretty
Okay.
much similar, I feel like in iRacing. And I like
Okay.
Watkins Glen. I would love to race in Watkins Glen in real life one day.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So Watkins Glen supercars. Let's go.
Or yeah, supercars. I
Okay.
love supercars. I love watching the race in real life. I love driving it in the sim. And I also love the fact that VRS got a setup every week for supercars. So shout out
Yeah.
to who's the coach? Madison, I think. I think I
Yeah.
forgot, but
Oh my God.
yeah,
Yeah.
I
Shout out to
love
the coaches.
supercars. Shout
Yeah.
out.
Shout out to the coaches, man, because they do a great job. And like I've gotten to
Yeah.
meet a few of them, and we're gonna have them on here to do some Q&A because they are excellent at what they do. I don't understand how they drive in some of the setups because I love road cars and I love prototypes. That's my thing. Like prototype
Oh,
cars,
prototype.
prototypes, Sebring, Road Atlanta, Road America, Watkins Glen, like any
Oh,
of them. But
okay. Mhm.
Sebring and a prototype, I don't know what it is about Sebring. I absolutely love it.
Mhm, mhm.
And yeah, and one of the guys, Pash, he's doing the Cadillac, so it's like, man, like, and he does GT3s as well. He did the Acura, and I'm like, man, that car drives. I love the way they drive. I'm not very good at GT3s. Like I'm so
Yeah,
average at it. It's
me
ridiculous. But
too.
I like the fact that again the coaches have these setups, and I don't know how they drive them sometimes because they're so loose. And I'm like, oh my
Mhm.
god, like, I'm gonna just die every time I turn around the corner. Um,
I'm gonna just buy a car around.
every time I turn, I feel like I'm gonna die. But no. So, but yeah. So it's like I said, driving these tracks is tons of fun. But do
Mhm,
you have any questions for me? I mean, clearly, like now you're part of VRS, you're a content
mhm,
creator for us. You're
mhm.
making these really cool videos. You're making content, and I'm glad you're
Yeah.
part of VRS. But you have any questions for VRS? Anything you wanted to ask me?
It's more like how do you keep up with all those review content and stuff? Because I want to get into it. I'm cooking
Hmm.
on, trying to make like a review video on the VRS for the VRS product that I have.
Hmm.
So if you have any tips for me or anyone that's watching this podcast right now, like how do you get into a sim racing content creator, but it's more like on the review side, you know what I mean? Like
Ooh,
reviewing stuff. Like
yeah.
how do you
So
work on that thing? Because it's
right.
difficult.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, it is. It takes a lot of time. I
Mhm,
can say for myself. So I when I jumped into content creation, I jumped right into reviews first because I
mhm,
felt like people just want an honest bit of feedback about something they're going to purchase. And making a sim racing purchase, especially once you get past the Logitech G920 or some basic entry setup, like you're gonna spend hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars on setups. And it was like or different, wheelbases and wheel combinations and pedals and rigs and monitors and all of the different things. And so for me, I just dove like you. I just dove headfirst in. I said, okay, I have driven in sim racing for a bit now. I understand what I'm doing. Um, I have this set up. And even if it's something basic, like, here's the camera top, for my camera, right? Like this is the top that I click onto my camera lens. And if that was something for sim racing, you just go and make a video about it. And really how it's been impactful to you. Like some of the easiest things to talk about are like button boxes, right? Like people use stream decks, people build them, people buy them from companies, or pedals, something that you have that you think brings insight in your experience. Because a
Right.
lot of times it doesn't have to be something that's long-winded. Like for example, and this is even better. I have this PlayStation controller, right? Somebody is
Right.
probably playing Gran Turismo with this right now as we speak. And
Yeah.
you could just start talking about it like, hey man, I've got this PlayStation controller here. I got the Crimson one, and let me share some details about it, you know? And
Right. Right.
I think having, and again, I'm going to go back to the beginning, having women in sim sports, sim racing, in the racing genre, reviewing gear. One, it
Mm.
brings more women into sim racing because that's what we should want. More
Yeah.
women competing against men, more women consuming the gear, because the more women consume, the better gear we get, right? Because more people
Right.
buy into it, the
Mm-hmm.
companies who make good gear get supported. They can thus create more gear and more products for consumers to buy.
Right.
So I would tell anybody, if you want to do reviews on gear, just pick something you really like. If you said, like, I can see your mixer right to the left of you that you
Mm-hmm.
use, right?
Mm-hmm.
If that helps you for your content creation and for sim racing, then I go and review that first and just say, hey, because like you have a community, you have people that obviously follow you. Otherwise, you wouldn't be part of VRS, because we want people who create content, who bring eyes and ears to our gear and the stuff that we have, so that you can explain to people how well it works for you. And
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
just say, hey, man, I've been using this VRS R295 for the last 6 weeks. And let me tell you some things I really like about it. But also be critical. You know, we
Right.
want you to be critical of our gear and say, hey, this is great. I love it, but it doesn't do this, and I wish it did this, or it doesn't do that, and I wish it did that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you post it, and it's going to be horrible the first time you do it. um, if you can go back and watch my first video, it is god awful.
I
Um,
mean, I've I heard from someone you need to pass that level, to become a
yeah,
full-time content creator. You need to go through
yeah,
that shitty contents series, to
yeah,
find what works for you, like what's the
yes,
click. Like,
yes,
yeah. I feel like I'm
yeah,
having like this conversation with you right now, kind of like giving me a little refreshment. Speaking of, okay, let's say, speaking of the review video, yeah, there's a lot on YouTube, right? But
yes,
there's not much of a review video for my girlies, for my girls. So maybe I
correct,
can work on that. You know what I mean?
correct. And like I
Yeah, I
said,
mean,
I
that's why I
am.
love having a chat with you. Like, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I'm glad you're here, because again,
Mhm.
I think this is how you build bonds in sim racing. This is how you build a community.
Right.
And at VRS, we're all about community. And that's why we always tell people, come to our Discord to ask us questions, give us feedback,
Mhm.
which I'll share this right quick before we move on. We have a poll up right now, and I'd love to get you to feedback into it. And what I did was I created a
Mm.
poll to asking
Mhm.
people what type of rim they would want, right? If they could pick the ideal rim that they wanted for their
Yeah, I've
rig.
been
Um, yeah. Is it a D shaped? And there's three options on there: D
okay.
shaped, round, and NASCAR. The regular round rim, would
Yeah.
be 300 or 330. D
Mhm.
shaped, 300, 330. And then I looked at NASCAR, and NASCAR, like, you don't see many out there. And I
I
was like,
was about to
okay,
say that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And NASCAR, like, okay,
Mhm.
330, 350, up to 380 mil. So that's a big rim.
That's
But I'm
big.
like, yeah, like, what would people want? And I know NASCAR plays a big impact in the American market. Now, in the European market, things are vastly different.
Right.
But we need to understand what the American market wants, because we are here in the States. And I think having a NASCAR rim would play very well for
Mhm.
individuals in the US. So what do you think about that? Obviously, you love supercars, but what do you think
Yeah.
about that?
I mean, I really need a round wheel. I think if you were asking me like few minutes ago, like what can VRS improve or anything, I would ask for a round wheel for my oval race. Like, please, please,
Okay.
please.
What size is ideal? Because I don't, is it 330? Is it 350? Is it 380? Because I've seen
Mhm.
like when I watch a NASCAR race, I mean, they're literally out here with the rim because it's
Right.
massive. It's not a 330. It's
It's
a
not like
really
for
big rim.
rally. Yeah, it's not
Right.
like those rally or like yeah, other kind of stuff. But if you ask me personally, Ray, I would say 350
Okay.
because
350.
it suit me perfectly. Yes, perfect for me with the 350. But again, people can have a different opinion about that because
Correct.
I'm like slightly like smaller, you know. But
just slightly smaller.
yeah, but 350 is about okay, but some people
Mhm.
might prefer the 380, but it really depends. But I think by
Okay.
default it will be 350. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So I
That,
was struggling trying to find a round wheel for my VRS wheelbase like back
mhm.
in the day for my creator series race. I found it right now, but would be nice if VRS having a round wheel
Yeah.
so I can have everything in one ecosystem, you know?
Yeah, no, absolutely, and that's what VRS wants to bring. I can tell you, we're working on a lot of great things. I can say
Mhm.
that we'll be at the Sim Racing Expo here as well in Germany, and I'll be there. So
Oh
we'll
wow.
get to we'll get to have a lot of. Hopefully, we'll reveal some really cool things to people to see. Um,
Yes.
yeah, that is our goal. But again, like I'm really thankful that you could get on here today. And I
Mhm.
did want to ask you one final question before you possibly ask me anything. So
Mhm.
now that you've been sim racing for about 5 years now,
Right. Yes.
5 years, 5 years strong. Um, what's the biggest mistake you've ever made on track? And I'm putting you on the spot here. The biggest thing you've ever done that made you go, "Oh my god, I can't believe I did that."
Oh, it was an IndyCar race in Talladega. We
Okay.
were on caution flag. I know how to drive an IndyCar, okay? For the context, everyone. I know how to drive an IndyCar, but I've never done an IndyCar when they are having a caution, right? So you're
Uh-huh.
going slow and stuff. I know how to brake, of course, but the way you're braking in IndyCar, it was kind of different, right? So I think I lock up or something back in the day, and I just boom into so many people. It was kind of like a bowling moment. I apologize that time. I really, really apologize. I don't want to talk about it, but now that you mention it, now that I remember about it, but for anyone that's that were racing with me few years ago, I didn't know how to brake properly, but now with VRS product, I know how to drive properly, and I won't do that again.
It happens to the best of us. It happens to the best of us. I've had some ridiculous moments,
That's
but
the
just like,
most
yeah, you just
embarrassing
like on
thing
the
in my
mic, like,
life.
sorry, sorry, sorry,
Sorry,
sorry,
sorry,
sorry, I didn't mean
sorry.
that. And everybody's
I
yelling at
skipped.
you, like, sorry. No, I
Sorry,
totally
and
get it.
I
So
out. Yeah, but yeah, people make mistake, right? So
we
people
all
make
make mistakes, all make mistakes. So any questions you got for us at VRS, myself as a content
mhm.
creator? And again, for anybody who's watching this, we will have more podcast series with VRS. I'm going to work on something with Els because she's a great content creator, and we need to get her more involved with the content that we create here as well. So, any questions you have for me before we sign off and tell everybody to like, subscribe, and follow all this
All
good stuff?
right. So first, I'm gonna ask a question for VRS, and then I
Okay.
will ask question to you. Okay, how about
Okay.
that? So will VRS release any handbrake, any like shifter, any kind of like accessories like that, or will
Ooh,
you keep on wheelbase and pedals and rims,
that's a good
or
question.
you're not allowed to say anything yet?
No, no, no. I will say this. We have been reaching out to the community to ask them what they want. And I can tell you that what you're saying is exactly what people have put. And we have a wish list in our Discord of what people can put on that wish list of things they really want to see us make and create. Because I think
Mhm,
what people have noticed is we bring great value to sim racing. And even let's go back to the formula wheels that we created that weren't great value initially. People are like, oh my God, this is so expensive. They expected it to be significantly cheaper. And that wheel was built for pro sim racers and was built with them in mind. So we spared no expense on creating it. And we had a lot of products on it and coders and things that were high end. But we listened to the community and said, you know what? how do we pivot from this and make sure we keep the community as part of every decision we make when we bring great products, because we want to know what people want and give them what they ask for. So I can
Right.
tell you what you just mentioned with accessories, with handbrakes and springs and all the things that you're asking for. These are definitely things that we're looking into bringing to the market, with a litany of other things. And I can tell you that anything we bring to the market, we're going to bring, and we're going to put our best foot forward to make sure we bring exactly what people are asking for, with the great quality and a great price. Because again, we have a no frills customer service approach, where if you have a problem, you contact us, you reach out, we fix it, we make you right. And if it doesn't work for you, you get the right to return it. So we do want to make sure we apply that to every individual and customer. So yes, we are looking at all of the things you mentioned, to bring
Mhm.
all of these things to market. When they will come to market, if some of these things will come to market, that's to be determined. Because
Mhm.
we're a pretty small team at VRS. Like when I got here, I didn't realize it's only like 20-25 people that actually are full
Mhm.
employees that work for VRS, and a bunch of
Right.
contractors. So yeah, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's
I
hopefully
mean,
that answers your question.
I'm really looking forward to it because honestly, I mean, I don't know if I've told you if I tell you this before, but I got introduced to VRS product back in the day when I was at the sim racing center. Like
Nice.
you're going to sim racing center and then you try out
Hmm.
basically you try out like bunch of different wheelbase, right? But
Right.
back in the day, I don't know why. The VRS is really what really kind of like buys me back in the day. Like
Hmm.
oh, I really like this wheelbase. I really like the details, and I really like the rim that you guys have. Like it's small
Hmm.
for my palm and everything. I feel like you guys kind of like care about me on that. So I'm like,
That's good.
okay. Back in the day, it was like 2 years ago. I think I was still in Chicago. I think it was in Sim Racing Chicago back in the day. Like I was
Hmm.
in that sim racing center, and I was like, okay, I think I like this wheelbase. So I just put that on back of my mind, like, okay, if I
Right.
wanna buy something, I should think about maybe I will get the VRS because I tried that in a sim center and I like that. That's how I got introduced that to VRS as an hardware, to be honest.
Nice.
Like I was
No,
like,
and
oh,
that's great. I mean, at the end of the day, like that's
mhm.
absolutely great. And I'm
Yeah.
glad that you were introduced to it then.
Hmm.
That makes life really good for us.
Hmm.
That you had that experience. And look at how it worked
Before
out in
I
the
even
end.
follow you guys on
Yeah.
social media, I already know the VRS exists. And then now that I'm able to work with you, and I heard from your side that you guys really care about the community. You guys care
Yes.
about what we want as a sim racer. And I felt that too when we were at the Sim Gaming Expo. I try out the
Yes.
product, right? I test out at the booth and everything. Even the pedal makes me less struggling compared to other that I've tried. So I feel
Yeah.
like you got my trust in that, as in
That's
like,
good.
okay, if I wanna get something, as in like, okay, the product is reliable. Speaking of the price, I mean, it's quite competitive in my opinion.
Yes.
Like, it's not like crazy high or anything, in my opinion, in my personal opinion, because you get the
Mhm.
quality that you paid exactly.
Yes.
So
And that's the goal.
uh-huh. And the fact that, yeah, when I was coming to your booth and I was like, oh yeah, you really care about the position, you care about the how stiff the pedal should be for everyone,
Yes.
so everyone can enjoy, can actually try the product and can actually feel like, okay, this is how the pedal should feel like without having to
Exactly.
struggle and everything.
Right.
So
And you should have options. And I can tell you there's some really great things we've got planned for
mhm.
all of these different products. I can't wait to share them with everybody.
You
Like I
got
said,
my
sim racing.
trust on that, like
Good.
I mean, after coming from that expo, I was talking to my community like, okay, I try out different pedal because before I made a purchase, I would love to go to the expo and actually try which one works best, which one that I like. And
Right.
I was telling my community, I was like, nah, I just go to VRS. Like okay, it suit me well. I got the trust, so I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna get it after this.
Good.
Like yeah,
I am glad to hear it, and
yeah.
I'm glad to hear it. And like I said, there's a lot planned for the future. I'm hoping we bring 2025 out you know, we bring some great things into 2025, but I think 2026, our goal is to bring a lot of great ideas and products to the market. But
Mhm.
again, strategically, because we're a small team. So,
Yeah.
we've got to, timeline, stay strategic. We're passionate about sim racing, but you got to be focused, you got to be smart, and you got to follow the timeline. So, but cool.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to like really get back on the track and cook on fun content. How
Mhm,
you like get like a new market to get introduced to VRS?
mhm,
I feel like that's what I like to do. That's what I want to do.
mhm.
Like making those more creative content. So, like hopefully I can grow the brand. It
Yeah,
also.
no. I think partnering with Els yourself was a great idea by the team, and we
Thank
look
you for
forward
choosing
to.
me, guys.
Oh
Like
no,
really.
I think it was a great idea, and to the people that said, "Hey, let's bring Els along," I think it was smart. And obviously, I think it's worked so far.
Mhm.
Keep up the good work and keep
I
that
will
stuff
do.
going.
Mhm.
But you said you had a question for me specifically.
Yeah. Yes. So, how long you've been doing a sim racing? How did you get into sim racing game, and how do you keep up with everything? Keep going with all the
Oh,
stuff, of course, going on. I would love to
so
hear from creators.
yeah, so like you, played. I had sim racing stuff when I was a kid.
Mm,
I had little ones attached to your desk, and then
wow.
just some really cheap pedals. And trust me, Logitech G29 would have been an upgrade to what I had as a kid. But like I
Mm,
had, like Gran Turismo, and I had PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2, and you get a little steering wheel, and it was really kind of crappy. The input felt horrible, it was laggy. But then I
mhm.
just, like most people, played on my controller and would play all the F1 games and the Gran Turismo games. And when I eventually had an Xbox and a PlayStation and played Forza for a little bit, then got rid of the Xbox and stayed on Gran Turismo. And then, like you said, COVID happened, right? And I'm
Right.
at home, and we just moved into this nice new house. And I was like, man, we have all this space. Like, what am I
Mhm.
doing? Like, I've always wanted to try it, and I just said, you know what? Screw it. I went online and found a used uh Fanatec CSL Elite. I bought the
Ah.
McLaren wheel, and I bought the CSL pedals. And the pedals are trash. They're just they're just
Yeah.
potentiometers. They're horrible.
Mhm.
But I race with it, and then I got a used set of load cell pedals from Fanatec. I had a little wheel stand, and I was sitting in just a chair and driving, and
We've
it
all
was
gone through that,
right.
right? With
It was
Karen.
fun.
Yeah.
Right. I
Those
was
are the
quick.
good times.
Exactly. I was getting pretty good, getting pretty
Yeah.
quick. Found VRS and started using the telemetry packs. And then
Ah.
saw as part of VRS, like you can also do Apex Racing. So I started doing both, right?
Mm.
Picking which ones I like better in the setup shops. Then I upgraded to a CSL DD. And then I
Oh,
got a
wow.
Moza R9. And then the Moza R9 was like, okay, this is basic. This is okay, but I need more. This is not enough. And then I bought the VRS DFP20. And since then, I've been
Um,
in love with the DFP20. And then, like you,
right.
I'm creating content, and my brand's growing slowly, not as fast as yours. Yours is quite big, much bigger than mine. But I didn't use Instagram. I didn't use TikTok. I was only on YouTube. I didn't do any of the
Right, right,
shorts,
right.
and I wish I would have, because I can say it helps. And
Mhm. I
then,
can help you on that for
yeah,
sure. We will work
yeah,
together on short
I appreciate
contents.
it.
Yeah.
But like it was like, okay, let's just create content, and let's just race, and let's just race, and let's just race.
Mm.
And then I started, I was doing reviews, I was racing, I was creating content, and then I was building wheels, and that stuff kind of takes a path of its own. And
Mhm.
then next thing you know, all of the time I spent racing, I have a business, Grace Dynamics.
Yeah.
That business, then I now work for VRS, and VRS has been very supportive. They're a great company to work for. And
Mhm.
like, I get all the gear, and I get to try it, and I get to use it, and I get to offer feedback and get feedback from the community to say, hey, I think we should look at this. So, that's been kind of my journey into sim racing. And I
Mhm.
started working for VRS because I simply threw my name in a hat. Um, I put my name on their website. I went to the contact us, and I like
Ah.
submitted something, um, like like a content creator or something like that. Like I can't remember exactly what
Yeah.
it was, but I went online and submitted something, and I didn't hear from
Mhm.
VRS for like a year, right? Like nothing, nothing.
Wow.
And then they reached out and was like, "Hey, you know, we're looking to hire somebody to be an online content creator." It's like, okay, cool. Like that sounds great. Like,
I
could you do
mean,
X, Y, Z? I'm like, yeah. I mean, I can create videos. I can create content. That's pretty simple. Um,
mhm.
and it went from content creation to now I get to sit in meetings and talk to the team and meet the coaches and meet the people who are over all the guys you've seen like Dennis and Frank and engineers and the guys who
Mhm.
make the gear and uh all the guys behind the scenes and like so many great people here that just really are passionate about sim racing.
I was about
And
to
then
say that.
now, yeah,
Yeah.
like when
You
I
guys
say
are
passionate, like
so passionate.
yeah,
I can tell
they
like you love doing what you doing.
yeah, this is if I could do this full time, I would. But like I said, VRS is growing and I try and tell people in the community, like if you want to be part of something, and you want to grow with the company, VRS is that company to grow with. And I say that because not because I just work here, because now I get to see what it was behind the scene, which is behind the scenes, and I was on the other end before. And I had bought into VRS gear before I ever worked here.
Right.
And they're so passionate about bringing great products, like the level of support for the community. Now, because they're a small company, sometimes they can't get to everything right as things happen, but they do a good job of saying, okay, this is what we're getting from the consumer. Here's what we're going to pivot to. Here's how we're going to respond. Here's what we're going to give back to the community. Here's how we can bring them great value, great insight, great products, great prices. And things I can tell you for end of 2025 plan to be big in 2026 and 2027. Like there's a whole plan that VRS has, and I am hopeful and thankful I get to be part of sharing it. um, but
Yeah.
it's going to be hard work to get there, but I hope
Mhm.
that people are for the ride. So but
Yeah.
yeah, so
I need
but
to get in touch again with the team and see what we can cook after this because I really love the turnout of our content and I wish I can do
mhm,
more of something like that.
okay,
So yeah, I would love to like get involved even more, speaking of making content and stuff because I got
yeah,
lots of idea in my head.
well,
And I feel
absolutely,
like with the VRS, like, yeah, we can do it. Like, just do it. It's fine.
yeah,
Like, I really love. I think I was talking with Milan. I think, yeah, on
yeah.
social media.
Milane is
Like,
great. Yeah,
can I make this? Oh yeah, just make it. I'm like,
yeah.
okay, let's go.
Yeah, no, he's
I
he's
love
great
it
at making
when
content. Yeah,
he
he's
gives
I
me
send
like,
it to him and he's like, "All right, make this, make this, make this, make this. Here you go."
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's
you
he's
can
great
be
at it.
productive with him. Like, you can have like a really productive talk with him, and you can just like, okay, let's do it. Like, I feel like I'm more productive, even more productive, as in like, okay, let's cook this, let's bring this, bring that. Especially during the expo, I was like trying, like
Mhm.
to make it like, okay, what can I bring? Like something fresh. Speaking of content to sim racing.
Yeah, no,
So that's
absolutely.
what I really want to bring, like something fresh, something fun, and yeah, bring it to VRS and
I
yeah,
think
that would be
that's a great thing. That's a great thing,
fun.
and as we sign off here, because I don't want to keep you all evening because it is quite late.
Yeah.
But
I
I
mean, it's
do want to.
been nice talking to you, really.
Same here. And like I said, we'll plan on doing more of these. And obviously we'll create more content. And like I said,
Yes.
hopefully I see you at future expos and things like that where we can do even more creative
Mhm.
things. But I do want to thank you for being part of this interview here and taking your time out of your busy schedule to talk with me today in VRS. I do want to thank people who are eventually going to watch this video. Thank you so much for tuning in and supporting VRS. We really appreciate it. As you know, these episodes are something new, but we're trying to continue to grow and bring more value to you guys. The more we can add value to your day, the better we think things will be. So, thank you guys for tuning in. We want you to like, subscribe, and follow all things VRS. Join our Discord channel. Stay tuned for a lot more things coming out. I get to share with you here really soon. I'll do some videos on that. Thank you, Els, for joining today. We'll make some content with her as well. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll talk to you later. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Cool.
Wow, thank you so much. Yeah, that was fun. We should do this more often. Like